Hey, everybody. Hello. If everyone who's already here can see me and hear me clearly, let me know in the chat. We're going to wait just a few minutes as others join in before we get started. Make sure everyone can see me and hear me. All right. While we're waiting, welcome to today's live lesson. My name is Molly. I'm from the US, from the state of Tennessee. For those of you who have not seen any of my live lessons yet, today we're going to do a part one of advanced adjectives. So there's going to be a few different parts of this. Today we're going to focus on advanced adjectives to describe people. So we'll wait just a couple of minutes while others join in. While we're waiting, let me know where you're watching from. All right, I see Cambodia and Sri Lanka already have joined in. And Morocco. Someone's watching from North Carolina. Hi, Pakistan. North Cyprus, hello. Hi, Mexico and Brazil. West Africa. I see someone else watching from Sri Lanka. Bangkok and India. Hi, Nigeria, the Czech Republic. Quite a few of you are watching from Pakistan this morning. Someone's watching from Greece. Indonesia, South Africa, Japan, Afghanistan. Well, welcome. Again, we'll wait just 30 more seconds while the rest of you join in. And for those of you who joined in and missed it, my name is Molly. Today is going to be part one of advanced adjectives to describe people. So my next live lesson in a few weeks will be advanced adjectives to describe places, but today we're going to focus on describing people. So I've got 12 advanced adjectives to go over with you, and then we're going to do a little bit of practice. Who can tell me what is an adjective? Who knows what an adjective is? Type it in the chat. What is an adjective? Guess that's most important to know before we get started with today's lesson. What is an adjective? Let's see if anyone knows. I'm sure you do. So an adjective we use to describe a person, a place, or a thing. Good. So it's a word that modifies a noun or a pronoun. So a noun is a person, place, or thing, and an adjective describes that noun. Good. It's used to add extra meaning about a noun or a pronoun. Very good. Describes the noun. Awesome. So I'm sure many of you have already learned lots of different adjectives to describe people. Funny, friendly, shy, outgoing, things like that. So today what our goal is to learn some advanced adjectives. So maybe some new adjectives that you haven't learned in your vocabulary yet to describe a person. So I've got 12 of them. We're going to go in alphabetical order. We're going to learn the pronunciation of the adjective and its meaning. And once we get finished, we're going to do a little bit of practice. And then if any of these adjectives describe you, you can let me know in the chat as well. Don't forget, if you have to leave this lesson early, it is going to be recorded and uploaded onto Cambly's YouTube channel so that you can go back and watch it or review it anytime you need. All right, is everyone ready to get started? Good. I feel like everyone got the definition of an adjective correct. Perfect. All right. So our first one is ambitious. Ambitious. To be ambitious is to have a strong desire and determination to succeed. So if someone is ambitious, they work hard to achieve a goal. They're very hardworking. They've got a goal and they're going to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal, right? They're very determined to succeed. Ambitious. I think you have to be ambitious to learn another language. So, probably all of you are ambitious since you're here learning English. Takes the noun of that would be ambition. So, someone who is ambitious has a lot of ambition. Make sure you all can see that. Ambitious. All right. Our second one. Good. Someone says, I am ambitious to become an adept teacher of the English language. That's awesome. That does take a lot of ambition. All right. A synonym of ambitious. Good question. So a synonym of ambitious could be determined. Someone who's very determined. All right, our next word is apathetic. Apathetic. The meaning of apathetic, so the noun would be to be full of apathy. Apathy, to be full of apathy, someone who does not show any interest or enthusiasm or concern. They don't care, okay? Apathetic. To be full of apathy, to show no interest, enthusiasm, or concern, or to not care. Apathetic. For example, maybe some people, maybe you, or you have friends or family who are apathetic towards sports. They don't care about sports. They have no interest in watching the games. They don't care how the sport works. They don't want to go see a game. They don't know any of the players, okay? There are some people who are crazy about sports, and there are some people who are apathetic towards sports. They just don't care or have any interest in them. That is the meaning of apathetic. All right. Oh, someone's ambitious to become a doctor. That's amazing. All right. Yeah, apathetic people may turn their blind eye towards needy people, towards people who need help. They just don't have an interest. They don't care in helping. Good example. Our third word, charming. Charming. Maybe if you watch fairy tales, you've heard of Prince Charming. So charming is an adjective. Someone who is charming can talk to anyone and their conversations are interesting. So it's someone who is easy to talk to, they're polite, they're friendly, and they're just a very likable person. So a charming person could be someone you really enjoy chatting with, you enjoy their company, you think they're very polite and friendly. They're interested in hearing what you have to say and also just carrying on a conversation with you. A charming person. I don't know I guess Prince Charming in the fairy tales is maybe a charming person. So far, two of these, ambitious and charming, are good adjectives to describe you. Apathetic maybe isn't always the most positive adjective. So maybe you don't want to be super apathetic. It's okay to be apathetic sometimes, maybe. But ambitious and charming are both positive adjectives. So again, a charming person, they like making people feel important. They're interested in what you say. They're very positive. They're easy to talk to. Someone who is charming. All right. Next one. Conceited, conceited. The pronunciation is conceited. When someone is conceited, it means they are too proud of their actions or abilities or accomplishments, having or showing too high an opinion of yourself. So maybe you know someone who is a little conceited. Maybe they're too proud of their accomplishments or of who they are. They brag. I'm not sure if you know the meaning of brag. Someone who brags is someone who talks about what they've accomplished a lot, even when you don't want to hear it. So conceited. They think very highly of themselves. They're very proud of themselves. This can sometimes be used as a negative adjective, right? So the opposite of this would be humble. Someone who's humble doesn't have to brag about their accomplishments. They are smart, they've accomplished a lot, but they don't feel like they need to tell everyone about it. A conceited person wants to tell everyone what they've done or how good they are. So, too proud of their accomplishments. Very good. An example of this could be if you're a sports fan, maybe you know an athlete, let's say you like basketball, maybe you know a basketball player who is just very conceited. They think that they're the best player on the team. Anytime they score a goal, they make a huge deal about it. They're too conceited. Yes. Someone said like being a show off. Exactly. Someone who's a show off. If I put that down there, can you still see it? So conceited isn't always a positive adjective to describe you. Humble is the opposite. Humble is a positive adjective. Conceited's not. All right. Next one. This one's a little difficult. We're gonna, when I pronounce it, I want you to also say it out loud. If you're in a place where you can say it out loud to practice it. Oh, I can move the camera closer to the wall. Yep, give me 1 second. How's that? Hopefully that's a little better. All right, the next one. Conscientious. Conscientious. All right, if you're in a place where you can say this out loud to practice, practice it. Conscientious. It is a long adjective. When someone is conscientious, they want to do their work well and thoroughly. So they also just want to do what is right. It's someone who always wants to do what is right, especially in their job. They want to work in the right way, stay organized, and do their work thoroughly. So conscientious is a positive adjective. It's a good way to describe someone. For example, maybe you have a coworker, or maybe you're conscientious yourself. It would be someone who always shows up to their job on time. They go to work prepared and organized. They get all of their work done correctly and on time. They work hard and they just try their best to do what is right. Yes, always doing your work with a lot of care. Exactly. That is conscientious. Very good. Some taped up here. Willing to work with what is ethically right. Yes, morally or ethically right. Very good. All right, the next word, diplomatic. 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 Someone who is diplomatic can deal with others in a sensitive way that doesn't upset them or hurt their feelings. So, diplomatic person is very sensitive. I like to think of a diplomatic person maybe as a mediator or a peacemaker. So, maybe there are two people who are arguing or fighting and they can't work it out. They have a diplomatic friend who comes to mediate and help them work out their issue. And that person doesn't choose sides. They're very sensitive. They don't hurt the two people's feelings. They help them resolve their issue. So, to be diplomatic, you're very good at dealing with people, exactly, without upsetting them, without hurting their feelings. So this is a positive way to describe someone. It's a good thing to be diplomatic. Yes, and we use this word diplomats noun to talk about people who are like the peacemakers in different states or countries. So diplomat is the noun of that. All right, we're halfway done. Do we have any questions yet? This is half of them. We've got 6 more. Conscientious, syllables, good. Conscientious, 4 syllables. It's 4 syllables. Mhm. Conscientious. Good question. Good. Tactful could be a synonym. Very good of diplomatic. All right. We're going to do the next 6, and then we'll just do a quick little fun practice. I'm going to just give you some scenarios, and you have to decide which adjective or adjectives describe that person. Okay, next one. I love this word. I don't know why. I like to say this word. I think it's a fun word. Gullible. 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 Someone who is gullible is easily tricked. So they tend to believe everything that they hear or that they are told. They're very easy to persuade or trick, and sometimes to cheat. So gullible, maybe it's not a really bad adjective, but it's also maybe not the best way to describe someone. Some people are more gullible than others. So when I think of an example of this, I don't know if you do this in your country, but here in the US, April 1st, we call it April Fool's Day. And on April Fool's Day, many people like to play tricks or tell lies to other people to make them believe them. So if you're a gullible person, you might be tricked a lot on April Fool's Day. Very good. Yes, gullible is like being naive, being naive. So maybe you have a friend who's gullible and you make up a lie and say, "Did you know that they found a dinosaur that's still alive?" And your friend believes you because they're very gullible. They're easy to trick. Very good. All right. At the end, I'll move out of the way so you can also see all of these together. Yeah, people can be gullible. Good. All right. Next one. Oh, someone who is gullible is easily tricked because they trust people too much. Very good. So maybe they're too trusting of, of others. Um, it's not always a bad thing. It's good to trust people, but yeah, sometimes people can lie to you. The next one is idealistic. Idealistic. Someone who is idealistic, it means that they believe that very good things can be achieved even when it doesn't seem like it, or even when others don't believe this. So, this is someone who maybe is a dreamer or a visionary. They have high hopes and beliefs that really good things can happen, even when it doesn't seem like it, or when other people don't think that good things can happen. So, very optimistic, idealistic. This can it's a positive adjective, but sometimes someone who is too idealistic, it can be a bad thing, right? Sometimes, like someone said, they don't focus on reality. Sometimes they focus too much on what could be. So it can be a good positive adjective, but when someone is too idealistic, maybe it's not always a good thing. Idealistic. So this could be in a good way. Maybe it's someone who wants to change the world. They want to change the problems in the world, like climate change or poverty. Um, Maybe they dream of world peace. That would be an idealistic person. They're a dreamer. Oops. Let me blow my nose very quickly. All right, next one. I also like this word. I think this is a cool word, a cool adjective to describe someone. Inquisitive. Inquisitive. I feel like I always have a cold. I always have problems with my nose. If you watch my live lessons, you probably noticed that. Inquisitive. Ah, good. Someone said Greta Thunberg is idealistic. Great example. Greta Thunberg is idealistic. So someone who is inquisitive, they are curious. It's someone who always asks questions. They always want to learn about something, or they want to discover as much as they can about anything and everything. So an inquisitive person, this is a positive adjective. Maybe sometimes if you know someone who's really inquisitive, it can be annoying if they're always asking questions. But inquisitive is a positive adjective to describe someone. It's someone who wants to always know more, to learn more, discover more. They're very curious about everything, and they ask a lot of questions. Inquisitive. His poems reveal an intensely inquisitive mind. I like that. Inquisitive. All right. Next one. Yeah, it's a good thing to be inquisitive, but not always. I think there's a limit. Like a lot of these adjectives, there's always a limit. You can always be too much of something sometimes. Next one. Pragmatic. Pragmatic. Someone who is pragmatic solves a problem in a sensible way by taking a realistic approach. So this would be the opposite of idealistic. Okay. So a person who's pragmatic, they don't depend on ideas or theories. They just focus on the facts and what's true. Pragmatic. So this could be kind of the opposite of idealistic. An idealistic person is a dreamer. Even when they don't think when something's not likely to happen, they still have hope that it will. A pragmatic person focuses on the facts. They don't focus on the what if or what could be. So they're very sensible and practical. It's a pragmatic person. So maybe some of you have a boss who's pragmatic. So if you have a pragmatic boss, they focus on how are we going to reach this goal? They have a list of facts. How are we going to get this done? Um, it can sometimes be viewed as negative, but it can also be, it depends. It can be a positive thing. You want to be very practical and not too much of a dreamer in some situations, but sometimes pragmatic can be used as a negative adjective. Someone who's too pragmatic. Because sometimes it's good to dream a little, right? Pragmatic people don't. Oh, my tape got stuck together. Which one are you? Are you idealistic or are you pragmatic? If you had to choose one, which one would you say you are? Are you more idealistic or are you more pragmatic? I think on a scale, I lean more towards idealistic than I do pragmatic. I like to believe that good things will happen no matter what. And if you are pragmatic, it's not always a bad thing. It can be a good thing as well. As someone said, it depends on the situation. I agree. It does depend on the situation. Yeah, absolutely. You can be both. And like someone said, it depends on the situation. Maybe you're idealistic with some situations, and maybe in other situations, you're pragmatic. You're more practical and focused on the facts. So you can absolutely be both. Definitely. You don't have to be one or the other. Yeah. Repeat pragmatic. So again, pragmatic is someone who is very practical, very sensible. When they're problem solving, they just focus on the facts only. So they don't think about theories or ideas. It's just what is true. They like to problem solve in a very practical way. All right, next one. And it's good to be a balance between both of them. The next one, pretentious. Pretentious. This is a fun way to negatively describe someone. Someone who is pretentious, they try to appear or act smarter than they are, often to try and impress others. So a pretentious person probably tries to act like they know more about art or music or literature to try and impress someone, right? They want to seem like they're smarter or know more about something than they really do. So we call this pretentious. Pretentious people talk about maybe expensive brands they buy or important people that they know or claim to know, or they talk about anything or anyone that would make them look cool. They might be obsessed with expensive clothes and cars. Maybe you've met someone before and you start chatting about art, and they pretend to know more about it just to impress you. Yeah, kind of like a show off. It's more like fake, phony. They don't really know as much. Yes, they can boast. Absolutely. This is a pretentious person. So really their goal is trying to appear smart and cultured to impress another person. And what they say isn't always true. They don't always know as much as they pretend to. So this isn't really, you wouldn't want someone to call you pretentious unless it was a joke. Pretentious isn't really an adjective that you want to be called. Pretentious people aren't necessarily always lying, but I think they're always trying to impress others with what they know or who they know or what they do. All right. Last word for today, last adjective to describe someone. Witty, witty, witty. Someone who is witty is quick witted, they're quick to respond. And typically, when they respond, it's really funny what they say. They're smart, they make you laugh, they're fun to talk to, humorous. So, a witty person, maybe you have some witty friends, or maybe you are witty. I don't personally think I'm a witty person, but a witty person would always have something funny, quick. They always quickly respond to what you say in a funny way. They make you laugh. They can be sarcastic. So a witty friend is a good friend to have because they probably always make you laugh. They like to joke. I think of, I don't know if you watch in the US, we have a lot of late night talk shows. And so I think the hosts of these late night talk shows, they have to be witty. They have to be sarcastic and always have a funny response to someone because their goal is to make people laugh. So that is witty. It's a good thing to be witty. All right, like Mr. Bean. Yeah, Mr. Bean is witty. Someone said my best friend is a witty person, but contrary to me, I'm the opposite. Yeah, I don't think I'm a super witty person either, but I like hanging out with witty people because I love to laugh. That's a good friend to have. Yeah, they can make you laugh at anything. All right, let's quickly go through these again. If you have questions while we're reviewing, please type them in the chat. And then maybe think of which adjectives that we learned today describe you, and you can type that in the chat. I'm apathetic towards sports, or I'm ambitious because I want to be a doctor, or I'm conceited because I like to talk about my accomplishments. Okay, so as I'm going through and reviewing, choose some adjectives and tell me which ones describe you and why. And then if you have any questions, type them in the chat. So ambitious is someone who's determined, they have a strong desire to succeed, and they work hard towards their goals. Apathetic, someone who doesn't care. They don't have interest. They don't feel enthusiasm or concern towards something. They just don't care. It's an apathetic person. Charming is someone who can talk to anyone. They're friendly. They're likable. You enjoy being around them. Conceited, someone who is conceited, likes to brag or boast. They're a show off. They're too proud of their accomplishments or their abilities. They have a very high opinion of themselves. Conscientious, conscientious. Someone who is conscientious wants to do their work well and thoroughly and ethically. They want to do what is ethically and morally right. Diplomatic, someone who is diplomatic deals with people in a very sensible way. They're great at dealing with people without upsetting them or hurting their feelings. Gullible. If you're gullible, it means that you are very easy to trick. Maybe you trust too much. You believe everything that someone tells you, which means that you're easy to trick. It's a gullible person. Idealistic. An idealistic person believes that very good things can happen, even if other people don't think they can happen or if it doesn't seem very likely. So they're dreamers and visionaries. That is an idealistic person. Let's get a little bit further out of the way. Inquisitive. An inquisitive person is very curious. They always want to learn more, discover more, and they ask a lot of questions. Pragmatic, which is about the opposite of idealistic, is not a dreamer, not someone who focuses on theories or ideas, but instead they're very practical. They focus on the facts. They have a very realistic approach. Pretentious, someone who is pretentious tries to appear or act smarter than they really are. They pretend to know more than they do to impress someone. And witty. The last one is witty. Witty is quick to respond in a funny way. They make other people laugh. All right, let's see some examples that you all gave. And if you have questions, go ahead and type them as well. I see quite a few people who think they're witty. There is a little bit of difference between witty and silly. So silly is just someone who is really funny all the time in what they say and what they do. Maybe they don't really care who's watching them. They think they can just be super funny and just do kind of crazy, goofy things. Witty is more when we talk about what we say. So a witty person is always going to say something funny in response to someone else. Silly is more with like actions and words. Let's see. I try to be a charming person. Yeah, I think we all do for the most part. We want to be charming, right? We want people to think we're friendly and likable. Ah, you're an icebreaker. That's a good thing. Let's see. Someone said I seem like a doctor because of my white shirt. I'm not a doctor. No, I was not ambitious enough to become a doctor. Not really. I think I'm ambitious. I just didn't want to become a doctor. Let's see. Someone left us a joke. I think that means you're witty. Um, why does the elephant not use the computer? Because they're afraid of the mouse. That's a good one. Because a mouse is an animal, and a mouse is also what we use on the computer. Very good. That's funny. All right. We're going to do a really quick practice before we go. Keep typing your questions if you have one. So I'm going to describe a person or give you a situation. And I don't have it written. So this is some listening practice. So listen to me describe this person, and then you have to decide which adjective describes them. Okay? Which adjective describes them? All right. So the first person, his name is David. David won an award at school. And after he won this award, he tells everyone about it. Hey, did you hear I won this award? Look, I won this award. So he's constantly talking about winning the award, and he thinks that he is the best. So which adjective would describe David? Let me scoot back for you. Which of these adjectives, there could be more than one. Very good. I already see lots of right responses. So definitely conceited. That's the adjective I was going for, right? He's very conceited because he thinks he's the best now. He won this award and he wants to brag and tell everyone. He's conceited. He might be a little pretentious too. Very good. Okay, the next one is Emily. Emily is at a party, a work party, and she has a lot of different conversations with many different people at the party. All of the people that Emily talks to enjoy her company, and they feel like she's interested in what they say. They enjoy talking to her. Which adjective would describe Emily? There's more than one right answer to this one. Good. So the intended answer was charming. charming. So Emily has many different conversations with many people at the party, and everyone she talks to, they feel like she's interested in what they have to say. She's a likable person. She's very friendly. So she's charming. She's easy to talk to. Had I said they enjoy her conversations and she makes them laugh, she could also be witty. Very good. All right, let's do two more. Two more. All right, the next one is Johnny. Johnny decides to become a vegetarian. And after he becomes a vegetarian, he thinks he's going to influence all of his friends and family to do the same, to also become vegetarians. He believes that becoming a vegetarian can save all of the animals. He thinks becoming a vegetarian is going to save all of the animals. Which adjective do you think describes Johnny? Johnny the vegetarian. Very good. I already see some right answers. Johnny is idealistic. He's idealistic. So he believes that something very good, saving all the animals, can be achieved, maybe even when others around him don't. Okay, so maybe his friends and family don't want to become vegetarians because they don't think the animals can be saved. But Johnny believes that this can happen. So he is idealistic. Good. He's also ambitious. Yes, he's probably also ambitious because he's working hard to make this dream happen. All right, very good. Last one. Last one. The last one is about Mary. Mary goes and visits the zoo with her family, and she asks the guide questions about every animal that they stop and see. So she wants to learn about all of the animals' habits, diets, and behaviors while she is at the zoo. Which adjective do you think describes Mary? You guys are so fast. I think you started typing the answer before I even finished. Very good. Good. Mary is inquisitive, right? She wants to learn as much as she can about all of the animals at the zoo, and she's asking questions. She's very curious. When I think of inquisitive, I think about little kids, children, because children are very, they want to know why. They always ask why to everything. They're very curious. So, all right, very good. So again, these are 12 advanced adjectives you can use to describe a person. The next lesson I do in a month or so will be advanced adjectives to describe places, okay? Don't forget, if you joined in today's live lesson late, it's going to be recorded and uploaded to Cambly's YouTube channel, so you can go back and review these again. There will also be a link or a code in the description after it's uploaded that can get you up to 33% off of any subscription. So I know some of you are already Cambly students. If you are not and you're new and you want to check out Cambly, you can use this code to join, and then this is going to let you chat with native English speakers from many different countries to gain confidence and practice your English. Just want to say a big thank you to all of you for joining today's live lesson. I hope you learned some new adjectives to start using in your speaking, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night. Hope you all have a great week, and I will see you for the next live lesson. Bye, everybody.